Final hour overdrive continues, brought to you by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. We got a big hour here. We've got confirm or deny later in the hour. The Leafs are back in action tomorrow night down in Arizona. Matthews chasing 50. Get back into what LeBron James had to say over the weekend, which I found hysterical. And I happen to be looking at Nick Taylor's PGA Tour page. It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. He's already got a win, obviously at the Waste Management, a couple of top tens, made a couple million. Oh, you slid into his DMs. It's been a great year for Nick Taylor.
He wrote back, too. Thanks, Jeff.
There you go. Here he is, one of our favorites.
But I'm afraid it might have been like a handler that runs his account that just gave me the courtesy thanks.
Well, let's get to the bottom of it. Here he is, our boy, Nick Taylor. How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing?
We're doing well. Do you handle your own social media?
You know what? That was me. I can confirm that was myself. So.
Boy, Nick, you just made my life, pal. You just made my life. Because if it wasn't you, these guys would abuse me for months.
And if it wasn't me, I wouldn't tell you that. So whatever.
Okay. That's true too, man. It must be wild. Like your DMs, Instagram, Twitter, everyone reaching out after a win.
Yeah, it's my priority. A lot of times is trying to text people back. From there, it goes. Emails here or there, and then Instagram, it's tough to get back to people. I usually don't even look at it for at least a week, and I do the best I can, but sometimes it's pretty overwhelming. But I do my best, but yeah, it's appreciated. It's just, it can be a little overwhelming with all the people reaching out. It's great.
Nick, take us back to your win in Phoenix. I mean, it looked like old Charlie Hoffman was going to be the feel-good story, and you just ripped that guy's heart out, man. Like, how uncomfortable was that walking by him when he kind of gave you that awkward thumbs up where you were like, dude, I just could not let you do that?
I've known Charlie since I've been on tour. He's been a great player for a long time. It was one of those, I think, when you're in playoff with somebody, you have mutual respect, and you're just, you're trying to win just as much as they are. So, yeah, I was fortunate to make those putts and kind of steal it from him, I felt like, especially with kind of where my game fell earlier that round. So, yeah, to turn around and make all those putts I needed was obviously pretty awesome.
Well, coming down the stretch, I think he went birdie, birdie, par, birdie, birdie, birdie. Like, just outrageous statistics. And we were saying it on the Monday afterwards that, like, Charlie Hoffman, he birdied the first playoff hole as well. Like, it isn't like I'm curious if at any point throughout your professional career, amateur career, collegiate career, like, have you come down the stretch and played as well as you played to basically steal the tournament and say, I'm going to win this thing, I'm going home with it?
Yeah, I know. I can't think of that much. I birdied the last two at the Kane Open to get into that playoff. So, that was, I drawed on that quite a bit. But, yeah, it was one of those things where I had a lot of phenomenal stretches that week. Obviously, the first day, I drove a great, I hit it well and made everything. And then it was a little loose on a couple of the rounds early on and kind of reeled it back together. And that final was that. Once I kind of made the turn around 6 and 7, got a better rhythm, hit some better shots. From where I hit it, really that front nine to turn it 3 under was pretty remarkable. So I had momentum on my side that way and just kind of hung around. And I thought it was pretty funny. The 15th hole, there was, I got asked after. I didn't obviously see it when I was playing, but they're giving quite a bit of grief for me laying up there. And I'm like, you guys have been watching me hit it all day. I was 250 out over water. There's no way I was going for that green. So, it panned out, able to hit wedge close there, make birdie, and grab a couple coming in. But yeah, it was an amazing finish.
Nick, do you think there's going to be some kind of reckoning out in Arizona at the Phoenix Open? I mean, it's always been that tournament where once a year fans can let go and be a little bit crazy, but it seemed to get out of hand this year. Like, what has to happen for that to be a fun time, but a somewhat normal time? Because it seemed to be nuts this year.
Yeah, it's always been on a razor's edge. I think this year with the weather, it just tipped it over with really 2 days of the fans couldn't really come out at all. And then I think everybody was like, we're coming Saturday because it was a good day of weather. You couldn't really see it on TV, but outside the ropes, it was a lot of that dormant Bermuda, which got just straight mud. And it was just a gong show for the fans to walk around. And then, obviously add the party scene with the alcohol. It's got out of hand a bit, but I don't know what they can do. I'm sure they have a few strategies to look up, but I think the tournament it is what it is. I think every player going there kind of knows you're going to get heckled occasionally. Obviously, when they cross the line and you're not in the right headspace, it's not what you want to hear. But 16 is obviously the stadium hole of golf, but the rest of the course is kind of taken on that atmosphere as well. 17, 18, they built a massive structure behind 9 now. Like they're building out the whole course. So it is what it is. I think the cat's out of the bag personally. I don't know how they reel it back in, and it's just something that you gotta expect coming into it and kind of deal with it.
Chatting with Nick Taylor, who won at the Waste Management Open a couple of weeks ago, and obviously the Canadian Open, the RBC Canadian Open last year. You end up at Riviera this weekend. You make the cut. I was watching your pre-tournament presser. I believe you said you had never met Tiger Woods. I'm assuming you didn't get a chance to meet him this week, did you, or what?
No, I didn't have a chance. There was a couple times we were like in the same vicinity, kind of, but he was in his own world and doing our thing. And then he was maybe 2 groups behind me, and I think we were teeing off 10 the second day, and I see a golf cart with his caddy, and I'm like, oh man, that's obviously not what you want to see. So that was a shame. There was a pretty cool buzz around with him. Even if he missed the cut, just to have him playing and doing it, he's the man that you want out there at any tournament. So, I think it was probably a positive, honestly, that it wasn't his back spasms or it wasn't his ankle or anything. It was just unlucky to catch the flu. But yeah, it was fun to have him out there. I hope to meet him at some point, but last week, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I'm curious, what the protocol is, because Golf Channel, when Tiger's at a tournament, Golf Channel has 6 hours of him on the range, and guys are walking up to him. Is it understood that you have to have past history with him? Is it just you're kind of a Canadian humble guy, you don't want to bother him? Because I would assume a lot of guys are like, if he's over there, I got to try to get a pic with him or something. I mean, why is it that you haven't been able to break through yet with Tiger?
Yeah, I haven't approached him. That's probably on me. I haven't been, I've probably taken the approach, try to act like I've been there before. So unless it's like a genuine kind of me potentially being paired with him, or just run into the locker room or whatever, I haven't gone up to him. Anyone I've talked to that has done that, he's always been great with them. So that's probably more on me than anything, but it just hasn't happened. So maybe I'll get desperate at some point and get on my own way and go say hi.
Nick, how was it wheeling around Riv with Rory? I know you played with him Sunday. I know it's not Tiger Woods, but it's kind of similar. How was the experience playing 18 holes with Rory? And as good as you are and as good as you're playing, did he hit any tee balls where you're like, that's insane where that ball's going right now?
Yeah, his driver is just an absolute weapon. He talked about it earlier in the week, but I definitely saw it firsthand. He teed up some a little low and hit kind of that bullet where, notoriously he just launches it higher than almost anybody. So it was very impressive off the tee. He still launched a couple on 17 that just go crazy far. He hit an iron shot on 11 that, it's a shot that probably 3 or 4 guys in the world can hit. It was a 4-iron that went to the moon and landed and rolled 4 feet, and he had about 12 feet for eagle. So there's certain shots that are, still blow you away. But really nice guy. Chad decent now. He's a guy that's, after the Kane Open, after that, he's come up, congratulated Marco and I. So it wasn't the first time we've met, but it was fun to play with him. Atchie was playing pretty well through 11 holes and had a couple brain farts coming in, lost 2 balls, and it's unfortunate to end the tournament like that. But I think I was just kind of running out of gas. But it was fun to get to play with him. And I played with Hovland the first few days, so it was fun to play with guys that obviously are the top of our game right now.
How do you carry momentum into Florida? Is it difficult to do, or is it just when you're hot, you just keep it rolling? Or is there certain guys on tour where you're like, coming to Florida, these guys are going to heat up?
Yeah, really starting at Riv, it's really the tough stretch of our season, probably through, honestly, the U.S. Open almost. There's not really any tournaments that give you a break. So, Bay Hill has been set up brutally tough for the last 6-7 years, at least when I've been there. You go in expecting that. players is always tough, and I like Valspar, which is the week after, which is my next 3 tournaments. So I enjoyed it. Par has a value where you don't feel like you're falling behind if you shoot even par in a day. So yeah, you go in expecting a grind and expecting tough conditions. So yeah, we'll get ready over the next couple of weeks. I'm take a little time off and try to recharge the battery, but it'll be nice to have a bit of rest and then be ready for a good stretch.
With Nick Taylor, and you mentioned it, I mean, you got some big courses coming up, tough courses, big tournaments once you get to the Players, the Masters, etc. But it's also a very unique summer with the Olympic Games going on this summer, and then the President's Cup is in Montreal. And I'm curious how often that comes up among yourself, Corey, Mac, Svensson, the Canadians, where you guys are battling for only a couple of spots in terms of who's going to represent the country in Paris. And, I'm sure Mike Weir's watching, and Mike's Canadian, and I wouldn't be shocked if a tie went to the Canadian, but he's got a duty to put forth the best team for the Presidents. Like how much of your focus is going into trying to secure those spots?
Yeah, the start of the fall, but the start of the year, those are the top of my list for goals. But I also, when you look at the goals, I think what's made me turn a corner and have a bunch of success the last year and a half is kind of focusing on my daily goals and doing the things that I know are going to make me better. And I've continued to do that. So the results have followed. So there's no reason to focus on that. It's only going to distract you. Waste management, obviously winning that gives me a huge boost and puts me in a great position for both of those things. But, you talk to any of us on tour, those are definitely top priorities or huge goals of ours. So, until the very end, you're not really going to know if we're on those teams or not. So, we talk about it plenty that we'd love to all be on the team, obviously. And I think Weirzy would love to have as many Canes as he could. So that's both of those are huge goals of ours. Have you played Royal Montreal, and if so, what do you make of it? I haven't actually. The last time the Cane Open was there, I didn't play. So the only time I really played in Montreal was there was a Four Nations Cup and a Cane Amateur. So it's been 15 years or so. But I'm looking forward to it. We've got a few notes here or there from Weirzy to a bunch of people that potentially are on the team, and I think they're going to set it up as favorable for us as possible. And I'm really hoping I can be there. Well, you'll be up here for the RBC Canadian Open. You'll be coming home as the defending champ. I'm sure we'll catch up, before that, Nick. But as you've stated, you got a lot on the schedule before you get up here in late May. But have you allowed yourself to kind of imagine what that's going to be like getting back home and being basically the face of the RBC Canadian Open? Yeah, I've thought about it and tried to forget about it because I think it's obviously an amazing week, and don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But I'm going to have a bunch of family be able to come out, and Hamilton is such a great golf course. I haven't been to it since they've done the restoration or remodel, and I've heard nothing but great things. So I'm looking forward to that. I've pretty good vibes there. When Rory dominated a few years ago, I was a pretty good spot through 2 days. So I know I can shoot some good rounds there. So I'm excited. There's going to be a lot going on that week, but it won't be a better spot to be in than defending my National Open. So I'm looking forward to it. Maybe if you get in early, maybe me, you, and Brian Hayes could sneak around at Hamilton, just the three of us as buddies. Well, I'm assuming he's going to be in my Pro-Am group, but you never know. I don't know if he can sneak in there this year. Yeah. I don't know if he could handle the Pro-Am group this year as the defending champ. It's going to be a lot different this year, man. I'll be there, Nick. We'll see if his nerves can handle it. Yeah, I'll be. You witnessed it, man. I was throwing darts that day. It's never happened since, but you were up close and personal. And knocking pins down. That's right. Yeah, knocking pins down. Exactly. Following your lead. Well, congrats again on a couple of weeks ago, making the cut, doing your thing at Riv, and, enjoy the break. Good luck through the Florida swing into the majors, and we'll catch up again down the road. We appreciate it. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on. There's Nick Taylor, my guy, your guy too. Your guy, Nick Taylor. You could have, if you flipped it around, again, that Pro-Am. Somebody just told me that he doesn't even follow you back on Insta. I don't know about that on Insta. On Twitter, he does. On Twitter, he absolutely does.
Insta may be a different story. I don't know about that. But listen, man, things could have flipped. You went out early. You went out with your boy Sebastian Munoz, who, he was a good guy. He's a good
on
guy.
Live now. He's on Live.
But he's on the Live tour. Watching you, with a Texas wedge from 50 yards may have pushed him towards Live. And
we're going to play that game, are we?
Nick Taylor saw me attack pins and go 1 under through 9 and said, wow, that guy's a player. I think he'll stay on the PGA Tour.
You know what? I'll make you a deal. I'll be on the bag this year for you.
Really? Because you've made that promise before. I think it'd be great. The life coach, I think, would support that. Right?
Yeah,
I'll get you a
for
tour
sure.
bag. I got the QI10 tour bag right here.
I'll be on the bag for you only if we're in the same. And I'm not driving out there to do the show from Hamilton, by the way. I don't want to sound like Rendon, but I'll be on the bag for the Pro-Am.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're probably gonna be out there. But if you're on the bag, I will make it comfortable. I'll get you. We can do tour bag. We could do travel bag. We can do walking bag. Anything you want, you tell me. We'll get you all dialed in, and I look forward to that because I'll be there. You better believe it.
And it's only 9 holes, right?
I think it'll be 18. Last year was 18. I'm going to need you on the bag for 18.
Let's go back to 2 years ago for 9.
Well, you can come out for 9. I'll keep playing. I'll get,
How
maybe
come
Doogie
everyone else in the Pro-Am gets 9 holes, but you're doing 18?
No, everyone else got 18. We did 9 because the two of us split. That's why. Because you were playing with Munoz, and I was, setting up with Nick Taylor, and it just worked out that way. But, yeah, shout out to Nick Taylor. What a win a couple of weeks ago. Makes the cut, like you said. Ran out of gas a little bit at Riv, but such a cool course, such a great week. And shout out to Matsuyama, too, man. That guy, he what did he shoot, a 61 yesterday? Or on Sunday? Crazy.
I'm not going to say he disappears, but he hides in the weeds for a while, and then he just pops his head up. He did it in Hawaii a couple years ago. And then I love the praise he gets. It's like Matsuyama, one of the best ball strikers of all time, the swing, the tempo, and it's like he hasn't done a whole lot.
No. He comes and goes. He got injured a bit, but he won the Masters a couple of years ago.
No, I get it, but he just sits in the weeds and at least he pops up and wins.
Yeah, he does. All right, confirm or deny coming up, and our Maple Leaf Player of the Day. So tune in for more on that. Thanks again to Nick Taylor. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
I don't usually do this, but something bothered me over the weekend, or I don't know when it was. But some moron grabbed a guy's hat at the Leaf game, and he threw it onto the ice, and he didn't want it to be thrown on the ice, and it really bothered me.
Yeah, I saw that.
Some guy was trying to be a TikTok hero, and he grabbed the guy's hat. It was like a fedora hat. Anyway, if somebody can put me in touch with that guy, Hazy, maybe you can go too. We'll take him to the alumni box and go to a game where you don't have to worry about a jackass like that throwing your hat on the ice.
There you go. Hat guy getting hooked up, loses a hat, but gets possibly an invite.
I hope he got his hat. I hope they find that guy and say you're not welcome in the building again. That's nonsense.
Yeah, it's silly. It's goofy stuff. I've seen the video. It's gone viral. It was, I don't know if it was McMann's hat trick or it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But if anybody can put this guy, he thinks it's funny to throw the guy's hat. It's just, if I was that guy, he had to must have contained himself. I hope he got his hat back. But if anybody knows him, put me in touch with him. And Hayes, maybe you could come too. We'll take him to the alumni box and we'll watch a game and not worry about some jerk like that.
How does that work, Hayes, when you go to the alumni box? Do you get to wear like an honorary jacket or nothing?
No.
He's basically the only friend I have, and I have to bring him.
Yeah, I kind of get in there. I'm a little too comfortable. Even I'll sometimes walk away and say, "What? I'm not an alumni." It's an unbelievable setup. I mean, the hospitality, it's the greatest thing going. Man, there's nothing better than the alumni box.
And trust me, I'm not trying to be a hero. I saw that, and I'm like, that guy is so pissed that guy grabbed his hat.
Well, you're right. I mean, that's the kind of thing that can get carried away to a fight and stuff. And then it's like, well, why would you ever touch someone else ever in a situation like that?
Dude, my dad's 76 years old, and if that guy did that to my dad would have punched him right in the face.
Probably would have turned and popped them. Yeah, and then it's like, oh, here we go. We got a tilt. And I don't know if that was for TikTok or whatever, but
that's exactly what it was for.
Probably for some sort of engagement online. But, yeah, it's stupid. I mean, why are you touching other people? Why are you grabbing someone's hat?
I hope he's
For
banned
a
from the
hat
building. I honestly would ban him just to send a message saying, "You people aren't doing this garbage. It's nonsense."
Yeah, but at the same time, I guess the guy got what he wanted. If he wanted to go viral, he's viral now. Can't imagine that's a reason why you would want to go viral, having people looking at you like you're a goon. I mean, can't we go viral for positive reasons?
But how would that happen? Like all in that second, you're just like, you start filming this, I'm going to throw this guy's hat in.
Exactly what happened.
I
thought he was
guess.
going to be a hero.
But
He
like
said,
it happened.
turn the camera on, turn this TikTok on, whatever the hell he does.
Okay.
And he said, I'm going to grab this guy's hat and throw it on the ice. It's insane.
Yeah, I guess what you're asking, Jonas, is how do you predict a hat trick is coming?
Yeah, exactly.
But hat tricks, man. It could have been they could have been waited for 2 minutes cleaning the ice, and then the guy said, "Hey, wait a minute, record this. I'm going to grab this guy's hat." The building was rocking. It was a fun night, fun game, and we'll see if we can track that guy down. Maybe he can be my caddy on a back nine at the Pro-Am too, right? That's possible. You got the bag in the front nine. There's an opening possibly on the back nine. I'm sure that's very enticing. All right. You guys want to get to confirm or deny?
Yes.
That's something you want to do?
I can neither confirm or deny
I'll do
that,
the whole
this is
18
in
for
fact a
crying
signal.
out.
Boston trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for Confirm or Deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
Well, I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
All right. There we go. Confirm or deny. We know the way this works. Jonas, you've played it many times before. You and I, generally we dominate this. Statements are made. We confirm or we deny. Very simple stuff.
Yes.
Confirm or deny. Ilya Samsonov has played himself back into the lock Game 1 starter for the Leafs.
I got to deny it. I'm sorry. I saw some weird stuff that was of horror shows that is still set in my brain, and I'm afraid that it might pop it might pop up. He just didn't tail off. He went to a dark place, and it was dark to watch where you're like, I don't know if that guy plays in this league anymore. So when you do something like that, it creates scar tissue for me, and I have to watch for a long time before I'm like, that guy's the number one, and you can run with it.
100% deny. Just right. Like, we need to see this over a long, prolonged period. We need to see what happens on one of those nights where it's like, something's wrong here. Like, he had a little bit like coming out of the All-Star break where he started kind of like looking like the guy he was before, and then he kind of settled down. Like, you could tell me any one of their goalies is starting Game 1 of the playoffs, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, even Martin Jones. Like, I'm not ruling anybody in or anybody out.
I think that's appropriate. I think it's a denial, but it doesn't mean that it can't happen, won't happen. It's not that someone else deserves, the accolades right now. I think you have to wait to see what Joseph Woll is when he returns. It's been a long time. He's a young guy. He was playing really well prior to that. But, if I had to choose right now, I probably would say Samsonov. Wouldn't feel great about that, but they've kind of turned on the idea of playing Jones, although I guess he's had a minor injury that has taken him out of the rotation. But they've played
my crazy
Samsonov a
thought
lot.
is, Hayes, whoever becomes the starter, I think that Martin Jones should be their backup for like dependability, predictability. And I'm just like, you don't get extra rewards for kind of saving the season, because that's what that guy ultimately did. He saved their season. There was a gong show in net, and he came in there and played a bunch of games. He won a bunch of them. But I just like him as the backup. And I don't know if what we've seen from these careers, although they haven't been a lot as far as viewing sample size, I don't think any of these other guys are like, that's automatically going back in there. I just think Martin Jones, deserves to be a part of the fold just for reliability, veteran, and a guy that's can get it done.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be an interesting part of the discussion as well. It's one thing
Sure
who's
it
going to
is.
start, but if that guy falls off after Game 1, Game 2, that leash could be really short, historically short in terms of whoever's starting Game 1. And you better be prepared for a plan B quickly, possibly within Game 1, leading into Game 2 and beyond. Confirm or deny, LeBron James will pull at least one Brett Favre and renege on at least one retirement announcement.
Man, the way he loves attention, I'm going to have to confirm that. Like, with the Bronny situation, possibly playing with him, God knows what that's going to look like or how awkward and bizarre that's going to be. And even if Bronny's good enough to play, but every time LeBron and his agent is focused on him being that 365, 24-hour attention dude, he loves it, and he brings half of it onto himself. So I 100% think he's going to do it.
Wait, so you're saying he's going to be like Brady? He's going to
he's going to do it once.
Announce his retirement, and then
he's going to do it
6
at
weeks
least
later,
once.
actually, I'm coming back. Or 2 months into the season, I'm coming back.
I mean, Jordan did it. Jay-Z did it. Those are two buddies of his.
Jay-Z did do it. Brady did it. Favre did it.
I still am going to deny it. I can't see that. Like, I think once he's like, I think he'll get to the point. Like, how many more years do you guys think he'll play? 3, 4, 5, less?
A couple years anyway. I think he's still dominant at his age.
But he'll be like, I think he's 39 now. I think once he's done, he's done. I'm denying it.
Okay, I'm confirming this 100%. I mean, this
100.
is in the LeBron James playbook. Some of the stuff he was talking about over the weekend.
It's tough.
I just could not believe it. I'm watching him on the set with TNT because the report came out last week. ESPN reported that the Lakers and the Warriors were discussing a massive trade, like owner to owner, LeBron to Golden State. And LeBron went on there straight-faced and said, "Oh, I heard about that when everyone else did."
Yeah, that was
That
tough.
is the most insane comment.
He would have triggered the phone call. I believe that he would have triggered the phone call, said, "Can you just pick up the phone call to see if you can swing something?"
Exactly.
Apparently from the reporting, it was the opposite.
That it was the Warriors that were pushing
the Warriors who reached out. But come on. Like,
the first guy that
It
would
could have
know
been
was LeBron.
Draymond. It could have been Draymond and Draymond only.
Yes, he was
But they're
part
best,
of it.
They're best buddies. And Rich Paul,
Rich Paul, exactly. They talked to Rich Paul.
Yes.
Do you think he didn't call LeBron and be like, "Oh,
Yeah, hey,
Warriors.
you see that Woj report? It's true. I was talking to them about your future.
And I decided you're not going there.
It's
Come on.
just an asinine comment that LeBron wasn't the first person to know about this idea that maybe the Warriors would be interested and could they find a way to make a deal work. And if he wanted it to happen, it would have happened, right? He didn't want to leave L.A. He also suggested he's uneasy with praise. Meanwhile, his handle is at King James.
He's introduced at the All-Star game, and he mocks like to put the crown on his head.
Doesn't like praise, though. Not a guy that loves praise.
Stop it. It's so tiring to hear that garbage.
And again, he indicated that maybe he'd pull a Tim Duncan and just disappear, and you wouldn't even know that he was going to retire, which is never going to happen. And in part because the league won't allow it to, right? This is going to be a massive, massive story when he retires or announces retirement and does his whole league tour. It's going to generate a ton of buzz.
Yeah, but Hayes, remember last year he kind of intimated after the playoffs that he might just be done,
which was completely bogus.
But you don't think that there's a scenario where after 2 seasons from now he just doesn't come back?
I think that could possibly happen, but he's going to announce it a season from now. I don't think there's a chance this guy plays his last game, 2 weeks later goes done. Yeah. I don't believe it's possible that LeBron will do that. I think there will be an announcement beforehand. I think he's worthy of it. Don't get me wrong. 100% worthy of the full tour. Guy's one of the 2 or 3 greatest players ever.
I don't like those.
They're a little bit over the top, but like if Miguel Cabrera's getting one, LeBron should get one. I think there's a chance I'm retiring and then actually, no, I'm not. I'm coming back. I think it's going to happen. I think this will be a circus for 3-4 years where LeBron will be right at the center of it every offseason. Is he coming back? Is he going to retire? And I think he's going to play a number of years. Confirm or deny, the NHL should only have one outdoor game per season, that being on New Year's Day.
I love that. I'm confirming.
You're confirming only the Winter Classic?
I like that, yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Like, it makes it more special.
They just set league records, because I was going to say the same thing, but they just set league records at Philly, Jersey, Rangers, Islanders. It's like, how could you say no to it if there's putting 100,000 people in a building 2 days in a row?
But don't you eventually just water it down to the point where, like, I mean, Kevin Weeks brought up the Rogers Center like that. If we're doing that, like, we should just quit the whole thing.
Dude, it's watered down for me too because I'm like, I know this is going to be Philly versus the Devils, the Bruins versus the
Chicago's
the
in it every year.
They're next year. They had to get back in there because they missed 1 year. But I think as hockey fans, they just don't get sick of it. I don't know. I guess they don't watch as much as we do, where we were watching games every night. They're just like, that's my team. I can't wait to go to Wrigley. And they're not dummies. They wouldn't keep doing it if it felt to the fans that it was too much. They're like, bring it on. They're going to throw 50,000 in a building 2 nights in a row?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
ESPN will probably love that.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's why I'm confirming it. It's no different than the All-Star. The NHL is a regional sport. That's what it is. And in that particular market, it matters. It doesn't matter if people in Toronto or Pittsburgh or Arizona or LA don't care. Because you're right, Joan. It doesn't, like the Winter Classic, they popped. Like early, it was wild watching them. Yeah, it was really cool, and that's 10 years ago now, right? And they've gone everywhere. They've been to Fenway. They've done Yankee Stadium and Wrigley, and they've played in, the desert. They played in LA. They've been everywhere. There's nothing left that is going to make it pop unless they do something really unique and host it in like Central Park or something. And there's no stands. Like, they did that. Where did they do that? In Tahoe, I think, during COVID.
But get Florida and Tampa involved somehow. Like, just do something interesting where it's not Rangers versus Islanders or Bruins versus Devil.
The problem is the climate. You can't have an outdoor game in Miami, and that's why it's Northeast, Midwest. And
put them in MetLife themselves then. I'm like, figure out a way to do it. Like, just do something different.
I hear you, but again, it gets back to the NHL's priority is how do we sell 160,000 tickets? It can't be Florida because they're not coming up. Philly will come up, right? Jersey will be there because it's in their backyard. New York will be there.
Good point.
Well, on TV, like they're not going to want. They want
and TV.
New
you
York,
want rivalries.
Boston,
you want bigger
Chicago.
markets. But it's a regional thing. That's what it is. The only thing that matters to the NHL, and I don't blame them, is how many tickets can we sell? 160,000. Cool, we're doing it. And I don't blame them. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of revenue. And I'm sure it's really cool if you're there, just like the All-Star game. If it's in your town, it's cool. If it's somewhere else, you don't care. Yeah. But if you're the NHL and it's a business and you're trying to make money, you're going to continue to do it. Confirm or deny, Tiger Woods will start and finish at least 5 more events this season.
No way. Absolutely no way. Deny it. I don't know if he plays golf again. I think this could be game over. I think you realize – I don't think he was sick at all. This is like a pessimistic and a negative approach, but it's like, as I mentioned, the guy's the host of the tournament. He's been handing out the trophy at the end of it, and he was too sick with the flu. I think there's something wrong with his back or something. Like, I think he realized that.
Jeff, would you feel differently if when he did the back thing, he coughed too, and then you're like, oh, actually, he's sick.
What bothers me is it's just like a guy that's that great. It's like he had the chipping yips a couple years ago at Torrey Pines, and he didn't want to deal with the embarrassment of that, so he started grabbing his ass cheek and saying his glutes weren't firing, he couldn't swing. But ultimately, he couldn't chip the golf ball. He had the chipping yips. It was embarrassing. The greatest player of all time. He could not chip the golf ball. And part of me thinks that he went out to Riv and he started making a couple bogeys and he's like, either my back's all jacked up or my game is in no shape or form to play at this level right now. And I think it wigged him out and he said, shoot, please, gone, I'm sick.
Yeah.
The guy won a major on one leg, and you're telling me that he had the flu and he just got on a plane and went to Florida? Wrong.
Yeah, that seems far-fetched. Again, like the stories of Tiger. Now, he's older, and he's been beaten out. It's a medical marvel that he's even playing. But you bring up a good point. 15 years ago, the idea of him missing a tournament with the flu, he would be sickened if that became public.
Let me ask you this.
He would fire somebody.
If the flu came up and he was 10 under par leading the golf tournament, do you think he carts off that golf course?
Yeah, I think
Absolutely
we all know the
not.
answer. I think we know the answer to that, and that's what's happened with Tiger the last decade. Is when it's not going his way, he finds a way to get out. I think that shank on 18, that was probably the most embarrassing shot of his career. Like legitimately, it might have been the most embarrassing shot. Where that's his tournament, all eyes are on him. It's Riv, it's 18. And that guy, that's a swing that a 45 handicap would make. Like, absurd shank. And I think he was thoroughly embarrassed. The next day, it didn't get much better. But ultimately, again, the question is, will he start 5 more tournaments? I believe he will. I'm going to deny that he'll finish 5, though, because of the nature of the conversation we're having. Like, I think he gets to the Players or gets to Augusta. If it's not going well, like really ugly, I don't think he finishes, man. I think he back, ankle, flu. I don't know. I don't think he's going to put himself in a position where he's the first one out on Sunday and shooting 7 over par. I don't know how he's going to handle that transition, because if he's going to play golf at his age with where his game's at, that's going to happen. Not all the time, but it's going to happen. There's going to be rounds where he's terrible based on his standards. And I don't know if he's got the stomach, pardon the pun, to fight through that, because he's not used to it. When he was in his prime, it never happened. He made the cut every single week.
He can't watch it, and he's got to come up with something. The same with the chipping yips. He said that, his glutes weren't firing. Wrong. You have the chipping yips, and it embarrassed you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway. Jonas, you got a take on that? Confirm or deny?
I would deny. All I can think of, I don't know if you guys saw Klay Thompson's comments not that long ago, and this is like, he's not Tiger, obviously, in the NBA, but basically he said it was really tough for him, or it's been really tough for him to adjust to not being what he once was.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And like, he's having a really hard time with that. Now imagine like you're the greatest player in the history of your sport.
And you're shanking a ball on the fairway.
You're like, I got to get out of this. Like, I'm terrible.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson was like, he was Steph's right-hand man.
Splash Brothers, man.
It was like, you drain a 3, I'll drain 1 right on top of it. He was as impressive to watch. And then it's like, now he's just a guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's tough, man. And that's a team sport where you can blend in. Right? Like Tiger's on his own.
Yeah, they can just not
man.
play you, which they do sometimes now. He's
right.
out there by himself.
Yeah, with guaranteed contracts, guaranteed money. It's tough. It's tough timing. Confirm or deny. Last one here. Bobby McMann, your boy, will be an everyday player in the playoffs for the Leafs.
Bobby McMann will be an everyday player for the Leafs.
I can either confirm or deny that.
In the playoffs. We get to the playoffs, pencil him in. Bobby's
absolutely
in the lineup.
100% confirmed.
Wow.
100% confirmed. With zero money to go get a Barbashev and things like that, 100% confirmed that, Bobby. You got to be the McMahon to beat the McMahon.
I like that. Jonas, I'm sensing
I got to deny that. I can't get there yet. Like, if they acquire a forward, that's pushing everybody down or wrong. Calle Yarncroc still has to come back. Injuries can be part of it. I need more. Sorry.
Remember the playoffs? People hit each other. My man Bobby McMahon hits people.
That is an important element here.
Yeah.
Like it's not just the goal. What's more important, because the goals are going to come and go. It's how physical are you.
Yeah, but like, come on, like before this little stretch, you weren't saying like every night he's like you're feeling him every night physically.
Right.
It wasn't happening all the time. Maybe something has clicked. Like it kind of feels like something has clicked in his mind that he can actually be a threat offensively in the NHL, and if that persists, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I'm going to deny it as well. I think he's trending in that direction. I think it'd be a great story. I think they got to figure out the bottom of the lineup. Like, is Reeves playing in the playoffs? Yarncroc. Well, I don't know if Noah Gregor's going to play. Like Gregor's been out now, right? McMahon's kind of past him. That's kind of a battle. I could see them picking up a depth forward, in a trade that isn't going to cost them a lot, but a guy that they might rely on the fourth line. Yarncroc will return, and Yarncroc is playing, like, undoubtedly. So, it's going to be a battle. There's a logjam there, but I think he has certainly the ability to pass Gregor, Reeves, Pontus Holmberg.
I mean, do you know what's nuts?
Nick Robertson in the playoffs. I don't think Robertson's a lock to play at all.
McMann has more goals than Bertuzzi.
Which is wild.
Which is like mind-blowing.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, a hat trick and then an empty netter puts you in a good spot, but you're right, Jonas. Like Bertuzzi missing that empty net goal, and then the Blues immediately score.
Oh, that's when I was like, I know that feeling where it's like you got like death stares coming at you. You can feel people staring at you.
Because he was 2 or 3 feet past the red line. Like strides. Like he had that's a layup in the NHL. That's a pass the puck in the net. And
remember when Chuck Knobloch couldn't throw it to first?
Yes.
That was horrifying.
That was it, man. All right, there you go. Confirm and deny. Good stuff. Very good. Very good confirm or deny. Maple Leaf Player of the Day. We announce one every single day on the show. Current or former Maple Leaf player. And on Friday, you have a chance to call in and name the 5 players of the week. Name all 5, and you can win a pair of tickets. This week, we're giving away Leafs Coyotes February 29th. I love it. A leap year. Go down to the game. Leap year. Alumni box. Possibly in a leap year. I love that.
With the hat guy.
With the hat guy. Plus, we're throwing in a $250 Vanilla Visa prepaid card. Vanilla Visa prepaid cards are available for purchase at Petro Canada. Today's player of the day is our main man, Mike Johnson. Johnny with the alumni jacket for the Leafs and the Coyotes.
Love it.
Yeah. I have to believe down at Mullet Arena, they probably have a great alumni box.
There's no disrespect to Arizona.
All right, so there you go. Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson is your player of the day. No disrespect to Arizona after absolutely sky dumping all over them.
Sky dumping.
It was, what a comment from Bruce Cassidy. I love that comment. All right, we'll come back and look ahead to the game tomorrow night. Bunch of games in the NHL tonight. Put a cap on the afternoon. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 2.
Had an interesting exchange with my friend Trotzy, who's a golf fanatic. He said Tiger Woods had a flu incident in a tournament a long time ago in 2003, Bay Hill. I said, yeah, he probably ended up winning the event. He goes, he won by 11. 11! And this guy couldn't stick around? Give me a break.
Wasn't there an ambulance there?
Yeah, which was weird. Like he needed an RV
Dude,
an IV
it was
or something.
So blown out of proportion. I'm telling you, either his back is jacked up or he's in a bad place mentally with his golf game where he's like, I just can't play. Because he started to, like, there was some chopping about to happen. Like, he birdied the first hole, and then it was going to be a chop fest, and I think he sniffed it out and said, I got to get the hell out of here.
Well, listen, there were other guys sick there. Spieth, I guess, was sick. Cantlay was sick, but I hear you. Like, Tiger's rep is battled through literally everything, and we haven't seen him a lot, so you just feel cheated. We had Nick Taylor on earlier this hour, and Nick
He's
was
the
saying,
host of the tournament.
I know. I mean, listen, the PGA Tour this year has been, the Nick Taylor show was unreal. There's been a lot of weird finishes, winners that people are not that familiar with. Now they, I guess, take a week off. Then they're in Florida. You got Bay Hill coming up. You've got the Honda, or I don't think it's the Honda anymore. Players right around the corner. The Masters right around the corner. Like, it's go time. Like, it is go time here for the next, 2.5, 3 months. But and the live guys will be showing up at the majors, right? You get to the Masters. John Rahm, Champions Dinner. He'll be there, probably wearing his goofy live gear, I would guess. Like watching him.
Koepka will be there too.
Koepka will be there, absolutely. DJ, Phil, all those guys. Sergio, all the past winners will be there, and then whoever else is qualified based on like Cam Smith and.
I guess what those Masters winners just hope is, like, just get me to Augusta and let me top 10 or whatever, like top whatever to get to the next U.S. Open.
Right.
Because I'm pretty sure like a top 5, top 10, it might be top 20, just qualifies for the U.S. Open. That's all they're looking to do.
Well, if you're a guy like Sergio, you've made a fortune, you won the Masters, so you can go there every year for the next 20 years. They're always going to let you come back and play.
Yeah.
Walk around in your green jacket, go do your live golf thing, tuck another 20, 30 million in your jeans. See you later. Like, yeah, it's tough to argue against that. Anyway, tomorrow night they're in Arizona. The Leafs are in Arizona. Homecoming for Matthews, homecoming for Matthew Nyes. It is pretty wild that 2 line mates, including the best player on the Toronto Maple Leafs, are from Arizona. Like, Nyes and Matthews are going to start the game tomorrow night on a line that is pretty dominant with the best goal scorer in the world and another guy who's not too shabby, and they're both from Arizona. It's pretty incredible.
There's great hockey players popping up from all over Sun Belts in the United States, like Florida, hockey in Florida. And it's because NHL teams got the minor hockey in Carolina. When I first got, I don't even know if there was minor hockey. I don't think there was. And then there's like a junior Canes program, and then all of a sudden it's around for enough, and then somebody's kid is going to make it somewhere. It's great to see. Like Florida, I think kids hockey in Florida, like minor hockey, is massive.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of NHL guys that have played down there, and it's not just because of them solely, but they put their kids in hockey and other kids. It's massive.
So
yeah, it helps.
I have a story actually coming out tomorrow about Matthews in Arizona, and one of the things is exactly what you're talking about. Like, I went down there, and it's like all the coaches are former NHL players. And it's like I was at the rink one day, and like Michael Grabner just walked by. He coaches there. Derek Morris, Steve Sullivan. And then like you have like literally the greatest goal scorer in the league is from there. And it's like, oh, now it's like actually possible for me, young kid in Arizona, to be an NHL player. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, I've never been down there, so I don't know how big he is down there.
That's the story, Hayes. Tune in.
Okay. So I'll look forward to reading that. Because, my understanding was it was always kind of still an escape for him. Like in the summers, he gets home and off the beaten path a little bit because there's no escaping up here. And the fact is, for the rest of his life, there's no escaping in Toronto.
Yeah.
Like he could retire tonight and walk down Yonge Street in 30 years and people say there's Austin Matthews. Like that's just the nature of the beast up here. Anyway, we'll see what they've got in store tomorrow. And Noodles will be back, and I'm looking forward to it. Jonas, great stuff. We'll catch your piece tomorrow on The Athletic, going up tomorrow morning.
Thanks, boys.
And thank you for doing this, as always. We appreciate it. There's our buddy Jonas Siegel from The Athletic. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out today. We appreciate that. Everyone for tuning in. TV, radio, podcast, web. We appreciate that. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
4 p.m.
We'll chat then.